everybody, welcome back for another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr, and you're probably noticing that I don't really have a beer with me tonight to review. I am drinking a little bit of La Fin de Mon from Unibrew, which, you know what, it's one of my favorite kind of go-to, reliable, drink all the time sort of beers. But the reason why I'm doing this session is that, as you can tell, we're right around the Christmas time. In fact, this is the day after Christmas. So I was kind of reflecting on the time that I've been, doing reviews for the Hopry, and I thought, you know what, this would be a really good time to kind of look back to 2009 and kind of share my top 10 beers with you that I reviewed this year. And we'll start it all off with number 10, which is the Verhaeghe Duchess de Bourgogne. This is a Flemish red, and of all the sours that I've had, I would say this is probably one of my favorite, simply because it's not so sour that it's off-putting. There's a really nice amount of sweetness in there that just kind of helps round this beer out nicely. So that's my number 10 beer for this year, the Duchess de Bourgogne. All right, moving on to number 9. This is the Bastille's Triple Carmelite. I think this is another one of those beers that, if you're trying to get people into craft beer, you want them to, try some more of the nicer Belgian style beers out there. This Triple Carmelite, it always turns heads. It always makes people smile. And that's why it's my number 9 beer of this year. So, all right, we'll move on to number 8. Which I know a lot of people know about this beer. It's the Orval, and as I mentioned, it is one of my favorite Trappist beers. I do like the fact that it's one of the most unique Trappist beers in that, it's a lot lighter. It's got a more unique, I guess, flavor profile than some of the others, where, I see a lot of the others being kind of dark and syrupy and, a little bit more robust. This one's a lot more effervescent. It's a lot lighter, but anyway, Orval, really good beer. So that's my number 8. What do we have for number 7? The Dogfish Head Palo Santo Marrone. I reviewed this one way back in session 3 or 4, I think. But this is a really unique beer in that it's brewed in wood tanks. I gave the whole story on that episode, quite a while back. I would say of all the Dogfish Head beers that I've had, this is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite. It's just the most enjoyable beer to me that they make. It's not real extreme like a lot of their beers, but just one that I really like to sip, on a cold, wintry evening. So Palo Santo Marrone is number 7. And now I do have a couple, believe it or not. I try to save, as you've probably noticed in my reviews, I try to save all of my unique beer bottles. And I've got some up in the kitchen, and I keep them down here. I don't know why. I just like having them around. But number 6, I don't actually have a bottle for it, but it's the Boulevard Saison Brett. You probably saw the session where my buddy Andy came over and helped me review that beer. Of all the Saisons out there, it gets probably the most respect of any of them, and there's a reason why. It's a really, really solid Saison. It's got some really great flavor. But let's move on to number 5, which I also don't have the bottle for. It's really unlike me, but hey, what can I say? My number 5 beer this year was the Great Divide Oak-Aged Yeti. Huge beer, really robust, amazing stout, lots of vanilla, lots of oakiness, lots of chocolate, coffee. I remember the Hopry down here smelling like a coffee house when I opened it. Really, really good beer. Pretty easy to find as well. But that was my number 5 beer, the Great Divide Oak-Aged Yeti. So let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Which I'm sure a lot of you will think this probably should score higher. This is the Founder's Breakfast Stout. And of all of the coffee flavored stouts out there, this is one of my favorite. Now, it's not my favorite, and you'll see why here in just a few minutes. But Founder's Breakfast Stout, this is one of those beers that, goes pretty quickly. You'll see them in the store 1 week, 2-3 weeks later, they're virtually impossible to find. So when you do see these, buy as many as you can. Really love the flavors in this one. Lots of coffee, lots of bittersweet chocolate. It tastes better than what people describe, believe it or not. It's a really, I think, good, solid beer that, it's not going to hurt anybody. So, moving on, where are we at? Number 3, Pliny the Elder. I can't think of an IPA that's more sought after, with the exception of maybe their Pliny the Younger, which, you can really only get on tap, or if you live near the brewery, you can go with a growler and they'll fill that up, and it's, very limited release. I was really excited to get this one in the mail. I actually, got some money in my PayPal account a while back, sent off for one of these, to kind of get one of these shipped out, and it was still, rather fresh. So, I don't know what else to say. This Pliny the Elder is probably one of the top 2 or 3 IPAs out there. I still think my favorites are probably the Three Floyds Dreadnought and the Bell's Hop Slam, but you know what? This is right up there with them. Nothing to scoff at all. So number 3 is Pliny the Elder. Number 2. Now this is my favorite stout at the moment. It's my favorite stout that I reviewed this year. It's the Péché Mortel by Dieu du Ciel. And I'm telling you, when it comes to robust, coffee-flavored stouts, this just blew the roof off my house, to be honest with you. When you pour it in the glass and you smell it and you drink it, you just know that you've got a great product. And as I said before, I think these bottles are, $5, $6 a piece. So I'm really happy that they, deliver on that promise. But anyway, this is a really solid beer. The Dieu du Ciel, Péché Mortel, go get it. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So here we are, we're finally at number 1. What was the number 1 reviewed beer on the site this year? Well, let me go ahead and ponder it over a sip. So, there was only one beer this year on the Hopry that wasn't only a great beer, but it blended a couple of styles that, that are dear and true to my heart, which is the IPA and the stout. So at number 1 this year for me was the Dark Hops, and this is by a small brewery over in, I believe it's Norway, and it's called, they're called Beer Here, so Beer Here Dark Hops. This thing just really took me by surprise. The fact that it literally combines an IPA and a stout in the same beer, it's just really perplexing. But I'll tell you, this is without a doubt the best beer that I reviewed this year on the Hopry. So anyway, Beer Here Dark Hops, if you can find it, again, go out and get that. So, I wanted to also take a moment. I know recently on my website I gave you guys, kind of a thank you and happy holidays. But I really do want to thank you for coming back to my site, watching these videos, sending me comments, getting involved. It really does make me happy to be a part of something that others enjoy, that we can talk about. I've gotten quite a few people excited about craft beer, even those who haven't been drinking craft beer up until now, and that makes me really happy as well. But I wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'll be back in a few days and we'll start reviewing beers again, and hopefully I can get 100 high definition videos out there for you to watch in 2010. So anyway, my name is Mark Starr, and thanks a lot for coming back to the Hopry. We'll see you later.